All right, let's dive into this one.
Okay.
This is Storm Raiders, a board game that takes us to a pretty interesting setting,
Yeah.
a post-apocalyptic Atlantis. We're talking like a shattered city ravaged by this thing they call the Rift Storm.
Yeah, this is a really neat twist on the Atlantis myth, you know.
Yeah.
It's not like this perfect utopia that we usually imagine.
Right.
It's a struggle for survival, basically. You're storm raiders, and you're competing for salvage
Right.
and prestige,
Yeah.
in this chaotic world.
Yeah, and we've got the rule book right here and the setup guide, so we're going to really break down, how this game works.
Sure.
But I guess what initially stands out to you about Storm Raiders?
Well, I think the first thing that grabs you is the rift storm.
Right.
It's not just like a background element. It's like
Yeah.
a central mechanic of the game.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
It's dangerous, sure,
Yeah.
but it also brings opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Like shipwrecks from the old world,
Oh, interesting.
which you can scavenge.
Ugh.
It creates this tension
Mm-hmm.
between risk and reward.
So it's not just about getting as much loot as you can.
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's all about calculated risks.
Okay.
You see, the storm, it can damage your vehicles,
Uh-huh.
and that damage, directly impacts your final score.
Oh, wow.
You need to balance, getting that valuable salvage
Right.
with the potential cost of repairs
Right.
and lost prestige.
Gotcha. So speaking of vehicles,
Yeah.
the game has a few different types,
Yeah.
each with their own strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
We've got the trike, the plane, and the sub.
Mhm.
It seems like choosing the right vehicle
Yeah.
is crucial.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The trike, that's your workhorse
Okay.
for, scavenging on land.
All right.
Pretty reliable, handles most terrain.
Okay.
But, if you push it too hard with
Yeah.
high dice rolls,
Right.
you can damage it.
Okay.
Now, the plane, that's all about speed,
Okay.
reaching those far-off locations.
Right.
But it's a bit more vulnerable to the storm,
Oh, okay.
to those intense effects.
All right. And then the sub.
Yeah, the sub gives you access to underwater routes
Uh-huh.
and resources that the others can't get to.
Cool.
But there's the risk of underwater hazards.
Oh, right.
So,
So it's not just speed.
no.
It's matching your vehicle to the terrain, the resources you're after,
Right.
and the potential dangers.
Exactly.
And this careful planning.
Yeah.
This seems to extend to the stormholds too, right? These safe havens.
Yeah, they're scattered across the shattered landscape.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
They offer a break from the storm.
Right. A chance to repair your vehicles,
Okay.
manage your crew,
Right.
and most importantly, pick up contracts.
Ah, the contracts. Yeah.
Yeah.
These seem like the objectives that drive the game.
They are. They're essentially missions offered by various guilds in the game.
Okay.
They require specific resources
Mm-hmm.
like orichalcum, general goods, fuel,
Mm.
even weaponry that you salvage.
The old world.
Yeah, from the old world wrecks.
Okay.
And the more dangerous the contract, the higher the reward, but also the greater the risk
To your
to your vehicles and crew. Yeah.
It sounds like there are a lot of strategic decisions to make.
Oh, yeah.
You can't just rush into fulfilling contracts.
No, you got to be smart about it.
Right, without considering the risks and the costs.
Right. You need to be selective about which contracts you take on.
Okay.
Assess what resources you're going to need. Weigh the rewards against the risks to your vehicles.
Right,
And even, think about where the storm's going to be.
right.
There's a lot to consider.
And that's where the depth of the game comes in. It's not just about, rolling dice and collecting treasure.
Right.
It's about navigating this complex world.
Yeah, where every decision has consequences.
Now, one of the things that I think sets this game apart,
Is how it handles resting.
not just downtime, it's a
yeah.
strategic opportunity.
Okay, how so?
Well, when you rest, you can repair your vehicles,
Right.
of course, but you can also recruit new crew members,
Okay.
modify your vehicles
Right.
with salvage parts, and even earn medals
Oh, wow.
for your accomplishment.
So even taking a break is a strategic decision.
Yeah,
You have to weigh the benefits of pushing your luck
right.
against the advantages of taking a break,
Exactly.
fortifying your position.
Storm Raiders is a game that rewards those who can find that balance between risk and reward,
Okay.
making smart decisions, adapting to how the game changes.
I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together.
Yeah.
The storm, the vehicles, the contracts, resting.
Yeah, it's all connected.
It all creates this dynamic experience.
And that's just the beginning.
Yeah.
There's so much more to uncover.
Well, let's not wait any longer then.
I'm really interested to learn more about these dice drafting mechanics
Right.
and how they actually drive the gameplay.
Yeah. Cool. So, one of the things that really makes Storm Raiders stand out is the dice drafting.
Okay.
It's pretty simple, really,
Mm-hmm.
but it creates this like really interesting
Okay.
strategy, and anticipation.
Okay. I'm ready to hear more about this dice drafting. Like,
Yeah.
what makes it so special?
So each round you roll a set of dice.
Okay.
And they represent the hours in a day
Okay.
that you can use for movement
Right.
or resting.
Right.
And players take turns selecting a die.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
When you put a die on one of your vehicles
Mm-hmm.
to move it,
Okay.
it has to be higher than any other die already on that vehicle.
So you can't just like take all the high dice right away.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
You got to plan ahead.
Right. Yeah.
Think about how you want to move your vehicles. You might be tempted, to grab that 6.
Yeah.
But if you do that
Yeah.
and you're left with like all low dice,
Right.
you could be stuck later.
Oh. Okay.
So it's a dilemma.
right.
You're weighing the short-term gain
Uh-huh.
against the long-term consequence.
And what about, I remember seeing something about one value dice
Ah,
in
yes.
the rule book.
Those are wild.
Okay.
You can change them to any value you want.
Uh,
So they add like flexibility,
Right.
surprise,
Yeah.
say you're like one space away
Mhm.
from a really good contract
okay.
and all you have left is a 2.
Right.
That's when the wild die comes in handy.
So it sounds like this dice drafting system adds a level of unpredictability
Absolutely.
to the game.
Yeah, it keeps things
Fit
interesting,
players on their toes.
keeps you on your toes, makes you
Mhm.
adapt.
Yeah. Okay.
You can make all the plans you want,
Right.
but the dice and what your opponents do
Right.
can really mess things up.
Yeah. So speaking of exciting things,
Yeah.
let's talk about these wreck sites.
Okay.
They look like they're full of treasure,
Yeah.
but I bet they're not easy to get to.
No, you're right.
Right.
The rec sites, that's where the action is.
Okay.
They have all sorts of resources you need
Yeah.
for contracts, for upgrading your vehicles.
Okay.
But to get there, you got to plan carefully,
Right.
navigate well, and have a little luck.
Okay.
You got to avoid the storm,
Right.
watch your fuel,
Uh-huh.
maybe even outmaneuver your opponents.
They get the best stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, I imagine that some wreck sites
Yeah.
are riskier to get to than others.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Some resources, they're just more dangerous.
Okay,
Like weaponry,
yeah,
you try to salvage weaponry,
yeah,
you can damage your vehicle.
if you're not careful.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword.
Okay,
You need weapons for the high-value contracts,
right.
but they're risky.
And that brings us back to crew management and vehicle modifications.
Exactly.
These must be important for managing risk.
They are, yeah.
Okay.
Crew cards, they're your specialists.
Okay.
Each one has a unique skill. They
Mhm.
can help you repair damage,
Right.
mess with the dice rolls a bit,
Interesting.
give you special abilities, or even just resources.
So you're putting together your team of experts?
Yeah, like your own little crew.
Okay, and what about those mods?
Ah, the mods.
How do those work?
They're like upgrades for your vehicles.
Okay.
They can make you move better,
Uh-huh.
make you tougher against damage,
Okay.
or help you salvage more efficiently.
So that's about customizing your vehicle
Yeah, to fit how you like to play.
to the challenges.
Exactly.
It's starting to feel like Storm Raiders is more than a game.
Yeah,
It's a whole world.
it really is, yeah.
With all these systems,
Yeah.
strategic choices, you can really get immersed.
It draws you in,
Yeah.
You feel every decision you make. The thrill of finding something new,
Yeah.
and that storm, it's always there.
Looming.
Yeah, looming over you.
This has been really interesting so far.
Ah,
I want to learn more about the strategies
Sure.
for managing your crew, fulfilling contracts,
Yeah.
How to win the game.
right?
Okay, so we've talked about the risk storm, those wreck sites.
Yeah.
But how do you actually win this game?
Well, it comes down to prestige.
Okay.
But getting prestige, it's not like super simple.
Aye.
There are a lot of different ways to win,
Right.
each with its own risks and rewards.
So it's not just about getting the most points.
Right.
It's about being strategic about it.
Exactly. You got to balance different approaches.
We talked about how damage to your vehicles can hurt you in the end.
Yeah.
So what are some strategies players should be thinking about?
Well, contracts are a big source of prestige.
Right.
Completing those objectives, that's a good path,
Okay.
but you got to choose carefully, like we said.
Right. A really good contract might seem tempting.
Yeah, but if it damages your vehicle too much,
Yeah.
it can actually hurt you.
So finding contracts that are worth the risk.
Right, and that's where the other ways to get prestige come in.
Okay.
Mods, medals, crew management.
Right.
Those all help your score.
So it's like
It lets you diversify your strategy.
you're not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly.
So even if you're not like super aggressive,
Yeah.
you can still win by upgrading, getting medals, building a good crew.
Exactly. A well-equipped vehicle, a skilled crew.
Yeah.
That could be just as good as a bunch of contracts.
And we can't forget about those resource sets.
Oh,
They give you a good chunk of points at the end.
yeah, so it's not just about spending resources.
Right.
You want to hold on to some for the end.
So you have to think long term.
Strategic thinking is key.
You can't just react to what's happening right now.
Right.
You got to plan ahead.
Think about the future. Make good decisions.
Adapt to the game. And then there are the different Storm Raiders.
Yeah.
They all have their own abilities.
They do. And choosing the right one can make a big difference.
Okay, how so?
Well, each one gives you a different advantage. Like Reed,
Yeah.
he can trade medals for guild advancements.
Okay.
So that's good if you're focusing on contracts.
Right.
And Kina, she's good at repairs.
Okay.
So if you're pushing your vehicles hard,
Yeah.
she can help you fix the damage.
So you're not just learning the rules.
No.
You have to learn each Storm Raider.
Yeah. Find their strengths, use them to your advantage.
It's like they each have their own playstyle.
Exactly. It lets you personalize the game a bit.
This has been really cool, exploring Storm Raiders.
That's a fun game.
I feel like we've just scratched the surface.
There's so much to discover.
new strategies.
And the world is really well made. You know,
yeah.
it feels real.
So to our listeners,
Yeah.
if you want a board game, that'll make you think.
And get you immersed in the story.
And that you can play over and over.
Storm Raiders is definitely worth checking out.
Answer the call of the storm.
Get your vehicles and crew ready.
Set sail for this broken Atlantis.
The fate of the world's in your hands.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning.
And keep playing!